Hello everyone. This week we are reviewing a book titled Radical Candor: How to be a kick-ass boss without losing humanity. As the title of the book suggests, the book is about how do you give a open and honest feedback, or how do you be open and honest with your team, and hence push them to deliver results and not be thought of as somebody who keeps giving negative feedback and hence a very bad boss. It is very easy to say that keep giving positive feedback to your team members, but practically implementing it is not so easy because you are under the pressure of delivering results. So the book describes about the challenges that one could face and how do you negate all of that and still be an amazing boss. The author of the book is Kim Scott. She is the founder of a company called Candor Inc. and she used to work with Google before under Sheryl Sandberg. So because of her longer stint in Google, you will see a lot of anecdotes and stories about what happened with Larry Page and Sheryl Sandberg and what problems she faced, how she mitigated all of that. Now going into the summary of the book, while the book talks about this emphasis, while the book's emphasis is more around this radical candor and the feedback portion of it, it is more or less a handbook for any new age manager on how to build teams, how to manage teams, and it covers key topics like understanding the mentality of your teams and team members, and how do you help the team grow, and how do you ensure that team feels comfortable and working together with one another, etc. So it is more of a handbook for any new manager. Now point is, all of these points are known to many people, right? If you have to run a team, you should keep them happy, you should understand their mentality, etc. It's all very simple points that anyone could give as an advice. But what is key is executing them on the field is not as easy as one might think, and hence the author has come up with simple frameworks which you could use as your guiding principles when you make key decisions in building teams or managing teams. That way you'll always know whether you are doing something against these principles or not, and keep moving your needle against it and take the right decisions. Now the author starts off with this fundamental 3 points, right, which she thinks are core for running any team successfully. The first point being guidance. How do you give guidance and seek guidance from your team members? The second point is about team building. How do you build solid teams? What are the parameters that one should consider, etc. The last point is delivering results. Of course, you don't want to build teams for charity and not be delivering results. Well, you could have an amazing team, and hence how to deliver results. These are the 3 key points, basis which this whole book is constructed. Now, starting off with guidance, this is where the core portion of the ideology of radical candor features, right? When you give guidance, can you exhibit radical candor is the question. Now the author has built a very simple framework to describe this point. She has 2 axes. The first axis is your caring personally to your team members, and the other axis is challenging them directly. You have a high and low on both these, so you have 4 kinds of managers who you could see in workplace. The first one is where you care for a person very strongly and you challenge them directly very strongly. This is your radical candor portion. You are going to vehemently oppose a certain data point or a position or a point of view that a team member has taken, but at the same time you care for the person very close by, and you care for it or the welfare of the person. Hence you are being radically candid. The extreme opposite to this is where you don't care for the person and you don't challenge them directly also, wherein you go behind their backs because you are worried about challenging them directly. So you go behind their backs and talk about them to other team members, etc. And also you don't care about the person for their development, improvement, etc. And hence this behavior is predominantly called as manipulative insincerity. And the other bucket wherein you don't challenge them directly but you care for the person, right? Which is nothing but it's called as ruinous empathy. You have an empathy for the person because you're caring for them, but you don't challenge them directly again, and hence you try to find other ways or navigate around situations and find solutions without even telling them that there's a problem with the way they handle things. This is ruinous empathy. And the last quadrant is where you don't care for the person directly, you don't care for the person predominantly, but you challenge them directly. You go after them, you confront them, and hence because you don't care for them personally, there is a very good chance that you could be impolite or rude to them, and hence this is an obnoxious aggressive behavior. You don't want to be in this bucket for sure. Of course, all of us want to be in the radical candor bucket. Now, the important point about being in the radical candor bucket is it is not just about exhibiting this behavior, but exhibiting it throughout the year. It is not just about giving this feedback once a year during the performance review cycle, etc. But it is about constant feedback that you keep giving to your team members, which is very, very essential in the guidance portion of it. Now there are other examples of people being successful in not exhibiting radical candor, also being obnoxious aggressive behavior also has delivered results as well. So for example, Steve Jobs was supposed to be in this bucket, but the problem is not everybody is Steve Jobs, and hence it's important that we do something which is a behavior that is generally recommended, and hence the radical candor behavior. Now, the second part of better team performance, delivering better team performance, is about the right team building. Now, it is important that the manager understand what motivates each of the team members who comes to work. There could be a superstar kind of a person, or there could be a rock star kind of a person. A superstar kind of a person is who delivers great results. He is high performance, but he also expects high growth, steep growth. While a rock star kind of a person is somebody who delivers high performance, but who's looking for a stable / slow growth. Now, in the kind of culture that we are being brought up, we want everybody to be superstars, and we generally look down upon rock stars. When somebody does not want to get promoted and wants to continue the current role, we look down upon them, saying that why would somebody want to do that, and all of that. But for the stability of the team, both these kind of people are very important, and hence a manager has to understand what drives both these kind of people and have the right mix of people in the team, is what the author tries to say. The last portion is about delivering results. Now, if you do the first 2 points correctly, build the right team, have the right mix of team members, and bring a culture of giving positive, radical feedback to your team members, the results should automatically flow in. But it is also important that you set up the right culture within the team in terms of the author also describes a framework here again. She has a flywheel. It is called Get Stuff Done flywheel. It has 6 or 7 elements, and I'll just describe all of those quickly. It starts with listen, clarify, debate, decide, persuade, execute, and learn. Right? All of these are very simple words and terminologies that we all know of, and it's nothing new, or it's not fundamentally different from what we already do in the workplace. But the key point is, when you have such frameworks in place, it becomes easy for one to ensure that to keep a check on whether the teams are exhibiting this behavior or not, and hence course correct as need be to deliver the right results. It's very simple. It says listen and clarify, understand the problem statement very clearly, then work with a larger team to debate on what is the right thing to do, then decide what's the right thing to do. There could be other team members who don't agree to what you are saying, and hence persuade them also to be a part of this decision making, and finally execute the decision and learn from any mistakes that you would have committed. Now, first half of the book, as we discussed, describes about simple frameworks that one needs to instrument within the teams to ensure that the teams deliver results successfully. The second half of the book is more around tools and techniques that one could use to ensure that these frameworks are being followed within the team, and any course correction that is required, etc. The core of any successful team, of course, is about relationships. How do you ensure that your direct reportees or the reportees to your the managers within the team also have good relationships maintained within them? While following these frameworks that we described helps in building the relationships, it is also imperative that we work otherwise also closely with these with your managers off and on work, to ensure that you build good rapport between their team members. That way it becomes easy for you to instrument these frameworks. Now, the first part that we spoke about was guidance. Now, within guidance we spoke about radical candor, etc. But as we said, it is very important that we keep giving constant feedback to your team members, and it is also important that we not just keep giving criticisms, right? It is also important we keep giving praise also in the radical candor form and shape. It's important that as a manager you take the first step and seek feedback from your team members, so that they start to exhibit the same with their fellow reportees and all of that. And it is important that not everybody is very vocal and open within the team, and hence you understand and embrace everybody within the team and seek feedback from them. We also know about the methods that one could use. Many methods are available in delivering feedback, but rather than giving a straight feedback, talking about the kind of person your reportee is, it's important you use a framework of situation, behavior and impact. Understand what the situation the person was put in, what kind of behavior he expected, delivered, and what kind of impact was shown by the employee. So this way it becomes you deliver the radical candor framework, but at the same time you deliver it in the right form and shape as well. Now we spoke about team building, understanding the pros and cons of different kinds of personalities who could be there in the team, and having the right balance, etc. But it is important that you understand what motivates each of your team members. For a superstar, what is his motivation? What is a rock star? What is his motivation to come to work daily? What is his life story? Why does he want to work? What is his dream? What is his 18-month plan? Understand all of these, and also build a growth plan for every team member within your team. It is very important we do this. Why? Because there could be situations of burnout or boredom that can happen to any employee, and it is important we create a rotation plan, as well as for a rock star you would want to give him a project or a situation which goes on for a long time and which keeps him motivated basis his needs. With the case of a superstar, it is more about challenging him very often, right? So you understand the motivation and create a growth plan for all of these people. So it is not just about understanding the balance, it's also about ensuring you have a plan to keep it up and running as well, is the key point. So moment you do the first 2 points, the results should automatically flow in. The role of a manager here then is to ensure that you keep monitoring the progress of your team members by having constant one-on-ones with your immediate reportees, skip level meetings with your skip level employees, and hence understand the pulse of the team, what is happening, is the framework being implemented properly or not, etc., and thereby automatically keep delivering results. The other key point keeps talking about is in the results portion we spoke about the get stuff done flywheel, right, which is about listening, debating, deciding, etc., and all of that. Now in order for employees to instrument this flywheel, they would need a lot of thinking time for themselves. So you should encourage people to set up time for themselves in their calendar about think time, similarly the debate time, and all of that, where a group of people within your team work together to instrument this philosophy as well. Now, a lot of this requires a lot of time to be invested. The author estimates all the time, and she says that if we plan our calendars better as a team, you would get to understand that this is not going to take more than 20-30% of your time in a week, and you would see a lot of idle time by doing all of these things. And that takes us to the end of this book. We'll go to the takeaways very quickly. Being radically candor in either praise or criticism helps the employee understand that the other opposite party is only helping him improve. Now, if this kind of culture is being set up between you and your reportee as well as your fellow team members, the team starts to thrive in the good culture that radical candor can bring in. So it is important we set up this kind of a culture within the team. The second point is understanding who is your rock star and who is your superstar, what motivates them, what brings them to work day in, day out, and build plans to them accordingly, and don't give a peanut butter spread in terms of promotions or rewards or recognition. Understand what is needful for them and deliver it accordingly. The third point is setting up a culture of collaboration within the team using the get stuff done cycle that we spoke about. And the first 2 points, if they are done properly, they get into a vicious cycle wherein every employee keeps giving right feedback to a fellow employee, and the whole team's morale keeps piling up and the results start to automatically flow in. The manager's role should not be micromanaged in that case. Take a step out, ensure that the mission is running like a well-oiled machine. With that, we come to the conclusion of this week's review. I'll catch up with you next week with another interesting book. Thank you.